Welcome to Virtual Open Day. I'm excited you could join us at Billy Blue at Torrens University, and I'm excited to be here and from wherever you are in the world. Today I'm going to talk about my career and a little bit on my background, as well as some industry tips and some exciting news at the end, and also a live Q&A. My name's Sibella Court. I'm a designer, a globetrotter, a content creator and a shopkeeper. I've always been interested in the visual storytelling and the world of colour and design. Early on in my life, my mother was a great champion of all my craft pursuits and anything I wanted to lend my hand to. And my father was a residential builder who taught me about finishes and his favourite passion of bricks. While studying a history degree at Sydney University, I started an internship at Vogue, and it actually got my foot in the door for Vogue Entertaining and Travel, which I had my eye on. This really launched me into the world of styling and magazines. And not long after, I was able to move to New York and work for so many powerhouses, including the likes of Bergdorf Goodman, Jo Malone, Donna Karan, Calvin Klein, and all the glossies. During this time, I was able to travel the world with the magazines and advertising agencies, and I got to discover the most beautiful makers and creators and museums and markets, and picked up lots and lots of props. This inspired me to open my own shop when I moved back to Sydney 10 years later, called the Society Inc. Upon returning to Sydney, I changed from creating temporary spaces to more permanent spaces and moved into the world of interior design. I've been reflecting over, I think it's 27 years of my career and some of the milestones. After finishing my degree, I did work at Vogue in the fashion office, but it wasn't for me. So I began loitering around the Vogue Entertaining office and also the Vogue Living office. I soon became indispensable and started assisting on shoots. Not long after, I was able to go out on my own. I was very young and looked very young too. But I became a contributing editor to Marie Claire Lifestyle under Karen McCartney and worked for all the magazines in Sydney. From there, I moved to New York. This was a big achievement. It wasn't something that I had on my cards, but it was a big part of my career. I was there for a decade and worked for so many of the magazines and lots of advertising campaigns and catalogues. I moved back to Sydney in 2009 and opened my shop, the Society Inc. That same year, I also published my first book, etc., which was soon followed over the next 8 years by 5 more. Around that time, Anthropologie, who I'd worked with on and off for many, many years, invited me to India. And whilst we were there, they asked me to design a few hardware pieces. Hardware had been something that I was always interested in, so I quickly made some sketches, and they were soon released under the Anthropologie banner. They became some of their best sellers. From that time on, I knew I wanted to have a wholesale business, which became the Society Inc. hardware and lifestyle range. On moving back home, I also hung up my styling boots and moved into designing more permanent spaces. I collaborated with Justin Hemis of the Merivale Group, and we created some of his iconic restaurants, including Mr. Wong, Palmer & Co. and Ms. G's. In 2015, I became the television host of ABC's Australian Restoration, which was very close to my passions of heritage trades and master craftsmanship. Layering all through this time was my constant contribution to magazines, writing articles as well as appearing in them. And I've never lost my love of that visual storytelling. Although I might jump around a lot, my deadline does get a little bit wonky at times. In 2018, I was invited to be part of the RIG Design Awards of the NGV, which was such a huge accolade, being considered one of the top 10 designers in Australia. Running my own business gives me the ability to run all these different arms of a business under the interior design banner. So we do create newspapers, we have the books, I have my wholesale range, and we have our interior design studio under this banner. It's an exciting opportunity to be able to do all these things and run a small team of 8. We continue to work on large-scale hospitality and now some residential projects as well, and you'll be seeing more of them in the years to come. Although I'm not really into trends as such, I do get very excited about the past and history, and that tends to shape both my design practice and also what is available in the design market. It's more of social changes that indicate these movements more than just fleeting trends. I know that one of my favourite movements of this time is the interest in handcraft and craftsmanship. We're looking back into what historical and heritage crafts look like, and more people are actually doing them within the Australian market. I champion these master craftsmen and try to spec them in every single one of my jobs, from shipwrights to blacksmiths, to sign painters, to scenic painters, to weavers, dyers, artists, and everyone in between. Again, it comes back to storytelling. Who made these pieces? Where are they making them? Can you go and visit them? They're the kinds of questions that I like to ask. As we move into a more conscious design phase and are questioning where things are from, I think that recycling and upcycling are more important than ever. So I visit all the antique stores, the flea markets, a brocante in France, or wherever I can find pieces that are seeped in history and have stories of their own that can layer up and make a space much more beautiful. When I'm designing a space, I always start with materials. I look for ones that have longevity and will patina with age and just get more and more beautiful, as we have to become more responsible and conscious of what goes into landfill and what can be reused later and be repurposed into something after your design has been finished with. One of the things I'm most excited about in the industry at present is the return of manufacturing to Australia, and it's well worth seeking out these manufacturers. When I was finishing up my history degree, I didn't know how I would use it within the design world that I had entered, but I use it on a daily basis. It not only taught me how to research with depth, it also taught me how to really ignite my love of historical pieces that could be incorporated into all my design process and into my design spaces. My love of history shines throughout all my elements that I have within design, from my hardware range to my design practice to even the space that my store is in, all has a hark back to history, the past and heritage trade, which are intertwined with everything that I do. I encourage you to draw on your passions and include them in your design process and in your own job description. I like to say that I wrote my own job description, which is very heavy on history and travel. I've always worked my passions into my career, and sometimes I don't know how I'm going to join the dots, but they do seem to. I'm the first to jump on an aeroplane and go to Santa Fe to learn how to make paint, or to San Francisco to learn how to make some new natural fragrance with my now mentor, Mandy Aftel. I never stop learning, and I never want to stop learning, and I encourage you to intertwine your passions into your career, because then it will never ever feel like work. I advise you to find a course that suits your passions and interests. Do you like commercial interiors, or do you like residential? Could be one of your questions. Don't be afraid to read up and delve down into the rabbit hole of other interests and passions, because you're never quite sure how they're going to link up later on. As a very enthusiastic collector myself, I encourage you to collect. This doesn't just have to be physical objects, but your own memories, scents, travels, photos, and make them into libraries of sorts that you can resource for the rest of your design career. Dream big and distill it down to a great idea later. When looking for inspiration, don't go around the corner to another restaurant or a local house. Delve into history, into your own childhood memories, your photos, your photo libraries, your object library, or even just scour the local library to help with other inspiration. I always start a design process with one of my passions. It could be my colour palette, or it could be a historical figure that gives me lovely boundaries to help the design process. Never forget the importance of just getting your foot in the door. There's nothing wrong with upskilling or just gathering those skills for the journey that is your career. I know you might have your eye on the prize, but just remember, the journey is the fun. The world of interior design is vast. There's so many exciting opportunities to delve into the rabbit hole of. It could be textiles or tiles or hardware or building or project management, or even something like upholstery, and really move into a craft. There really is endless opportunities and so much joy. For students starting in 2020 with Billy Blue, you'll be seeing a lot more of me. Look out for exciting opportunities for internships, scholarships, and much more. I look forward to working with you throughout the year. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, you can join me for a live chat in the link below, and I look forward to answering anything you have to ask me.